In the newest Destiny blog post, we got some details concerning some of the changes coming with Act 2 of Revenant dropping next week. Some of these look very promising for the health of the game, so I'd like to discuss them and theorize what might be worth checking out next week. Firstly, there's an additional row of artifact perks, which you can see now. None of these look terribly game-changing, but they do look like they could work pretty well with the existing arc bonuses within the artifact, so that's cool, I suppose. There's also some slight changes to a couple of weapons, that being a 20% PvE damage bonus to Telesto, and a self-propulsion buff to Mountaintop and its straight-fire grenade launchers. Depending on how the damage increase lands, Telesto might be a genuine choice for your loadout. The rocket jump nerf to our micro-missiles felt very unnecessary, so having it be unnerfed to some degree will add back a bit of that silly fun the game desperately has needed for a while. There's a couple of exotic armor buffs coming. Radiant Flux on the Hunter will give even more super damage, up to around 70% from its current 50% max. Ballador's for the Warlock is getting even more shatter damage, up to 150% from a flat 100. Finally, Point Contact on the Titan is getting more damage in its lightning strikes while you're amped, up to 100% from its current 50%, and the lightning strikes will now contribute to returning melee energy if they get takedowns. I'm pretty excited about these changes here, and while it's not the focus of this video, it'll still be nice to have some more options for each class. The focus of this video is on the biggest change we're looking at next week, which is a huge overhaul to how roaming supers gain their energy. Of course, we all know that dealing damage to enemies gives you super energy. Not a ton, takedowns still grant the most charge. Bungie is pushing our roaming supers to be a bit more viable compared to our one-and-done counterparts. This push involves increasing the super energy gain from dealing damage by 3 times. Now don't misunderstand, this isn't going to equate to 3 times the amount of supers. This is simply 3 times the amount of super energy from damage dealt. It's still going to be a lot, but it's not going to stack with other things like Mantle of Battle Harmony or other things that are going to boost up your super gains. Still very exciting and still very good, I just don't want anybody to misunderstand and think that they're going to get 3 times the amount of golden guns or anything. This is just all for roaming supers, but what does that actually entail? Which supers is that? For the Hunters, that includes Arc Staff, Golden Gun without Celestial Nighthawk, Spectral Blades, and Silk Strike. For our Titans, that's Fist of Havoc, Burning Maul without Pyrogale, Hammer of Soul, Sentinel Shield, Glacial Quake, and Blade Fury. For the Warlocks, this includes Storm Trance, Daybreak, Nova Warp, and Winter's Wrath. These supers will also deal anywhere from 30 to 55% more damage to champions, though it's not stated how much for each super. Now, this is a big change, like a huge change. Our roaming supers for a while now have been fun, but have been outclassed by other supers that deal all of their damage up front. This should give these supers a bit more backbone when compared to our burst supers. Dealing more damage to champions should also alleviate the roadblock these supers run into when faced with a champion. Thumbs up all around. But now there's another big question. If roaming supers are going to be the new hotness, what's the best way to run them? Well, there's a few exotics that boost up the supers being affected by these changes, some of which will likely go from good to great, while others may go from bad to good. Either way, it's a win, so let's take a look. Of course, recall that both Radiant Flux and Ballador's are getting buffs, which coincidentally both affect supers that will be affected by this change, so watch out for both of these next Tuesday. Titans, do not forget about Doomfang. It already gives a massive chunk of your super when you get a powered void melee takedown, but beyond that, it also extends your Sentinel Shield for potentially ever. Every shield throw hit while you're in Sentinel Shield will extend your super, and you can really extend this thing. It also gives up to a 4 times Void Surge, so dealing that damage for super energy will be even more potent. Overall, Doomfang is looking to be a top tier choice after this. For my Warlocks out there, keep a keen eye on Crown of Tempests. This helmet gives extra ability regen from Arc ability and Jolt takedowns, which includes your super. It also reduces the drain of your Storm Trance when you get kills, which, like Doomfang, can extend your super to some ridiculous levels. This has always been a go-to for the Arc Warlocks out there, and getting more of these extended tickle fingers will only give more of a reason to use Crown. Hunters, don't laugh. I'm going to say something that many of you will want to laugh at, but I'm telling you, don't laugh. Blight Ranger. Hey, I heard you back there. I said no laughing. Listen, I know, I'm not a huge fan of Blight Ranger either, but this change could really help this exotic. I'm not saying it's going to be great, there's no way of knowing until Tuesday, but what I am saying is that this change might just be the thing that Blight Ranger needs. Again, it might still be awful, but I'm holding out hope. Besides, if it does suck, you can just swap it out for Raiden Flux and keep the super. So there you have it, a rundown of the major changes to expect with Act 2 of this episode. There's some PvP stuff, you know how Bungie loves to show off their charts, but it's PvP. I haven't been interested in that for a long time, and I suspect I'm not the only one. This was all just to show what I'm looking forward to next week. I'm curious what roaming supers you all are excited to use next week. Let me know down in the comments, and until next time.